Trappist Rochefort 6.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got one here from the Trappist Brewery that is located in Rochefort. And they brew some absolutely amazing beer. Now, I've tried a couple of their beers before. I've tried the 10 and the 8. The 8, don't know whether I reviewed the 10 or the 8. I think it was the 10. Reviewed the 10, very nice indeed. The 8, I've only drunk in pubs. I drank, was it Euston Tap? I think I was drinking that in Westmore. What a night that was. I had a hangover the next day, I can tell you that now. And I've never tried the 6 for some reason. I don't know why. That is a disgrace. But I'm trying it today. Now, the 6, the 8, the 10 numbering, that doesn't apply to the strength of the beer, although it is an indication. That actually applies to the gravity of the beer. If you don't know what the gravity is, that's the actual sort of depth, not the depth as in deep, but the viscosity. I'm using adjectives that I'm being very fucking patronising here. It's the thickness, basically. It's the thickness of the beer after it comes out. What they do, they measure it before and they measure it after, and that's how you get your thing. They use a hydrometer or something like that to do that, and they use that as a gauge to give you an indication of not only the strength of the beer, but how heavy it is. And it's a pretty good indication because I think the 10 is at 11% or over. I can't remember off the top of my head. And that is super nice. I remember trying that. I reviewed it on here, but I remember the first time I tried it, it was like, wow, this is something special. I'm going to have to wear my Stevie Wonder glasses, because I'm blind as a fucking bat, and I've got my head tattooed. I've told you about that on the last video. I don't know whether which one's going to go up, but my other glasses are an absolute killer, and that's really painful at the moment. So I'm going to wear these ZZ Top or Stevie Wonder glasses. They are reading glasses. I normally use them for when I'm out on the bike. When you've got a lot of light coming in, it helps you to read. Well, it helps me to read better anyway. Right, so yeah, this is the Saint Remy Abbey in Rochefort that brew this. They've been going since 1595, closed in 1794, reopened in 1899, and they've been brewing this stuff ever since. And they pump out a hell of a lot of stuff out of that, and it's a genuine Trappist brewery. They've got monks, I think there's about 15 or 20 monks living in there, and they all brew the beer. This has got the Trappist stamp on it, which is only given to those breweries that have a certain number of monks working in a monastery on the production of the beer. Usually these abbeys don't really make much of a profit, and everything else goes back into the monastery to help it function basically as a monastery. As I say, there's 3 beers that they brew, and this is the oldest one. This was the first one that they did, and they eventually went up in strength on the beers, but this is the original, if you like. So let's stop gassing and let's get this investigated. Now, there's the cap. It's the red cap, and of course these are all colour coded. Red, blue, I can't remember what the other one is, but the 6 is red. There's a lot of stuff on the back. Brewed with water, malted barley, sugar, wheat starch, yeast and hops. Yeah, sugar seems to be quite a common ingredient in Belgian doubles, and this is what this is. It's a double. or an Abbey beer. Some people call it Abbey beer, but it's a Belgian double. And sugar, as I say, is quite a common ingredient of it. Some people get it right. Some people just go over the, or some brewers just go over the top with it. And I've reviewed quite a few here. A lot of the ones on on this channel that I've reviewed have got the balance just right. There's a few on here though that have just been so sickly and sweet that I haven't really enjoyed them, to be honest. But I do remember the Rochefort 10 being really good, so I'm hoping this is going to be the same. There's a quick word about the malt and hops in this. It's weird because they don't use traditional Belgian malts and hops. This has got the malts are Pilsner malt, obviously from Czech Republic or Germany, and they've got Munich malts. Very nice malt indeed, one of my favourites. And the hops are Hallertauer, which of course is a noble German hop, and these Goldings as well. And I've heard, I'm not sure if it's true, but I've heard they've actually got the hops from Kent. So there is Kent Goldings that they're using, or Kent Goldings. And that's interesting because, you know, a British hop grower supplying hops are probably one of the best known Belgian beers in the world. I mean, this really has got a good reputation, Rochefort, and they only brew this once or twice a year, and they must brew it in a huge batch because it goes everywhere really. Acquired taste though, not everyone drinks it, not everyone likes that super rich flavour that it gives off. Anyway, let's get it opened. Alright, there it is. What are we getting on the nose? Oh, lovely. Spice and malt. Quite nice. Lots of pepper, lots of white pepper and coriander. And a bit of clove as well. It smells really nice. It smells quite sweet as well, though. Some sweet notes coming out of that. Fruity as well. Dark fruit. Wow. Using a goblet. I haven't got a Rochefort goblet. I'm just going to use this one. Goblet's a goblet. Well, it's not a goblet, but or chalice, whatever you want to call it. But they, it's all got the same principle. As long as you're releasing the volatiles, whatever the fuck that means. Wow, can you hear that carbonation? I'll just hold that up to the mic. Super foamy. Get the bins off because I can see more with my eyes shut. Okay, out of these in this room. Nice murky brown colour. You're probably not seeing that. You're probably seeing that very light, but it is a sort of murky medium brown colour. The head is dissipating quite quickly. Wow. Dried fruit. Spice. There's a fair bit of spice on this. And some sweet dark fruit, as you would expect from a Belgian double. Oh, it's really nice. Let's get it down the hatch. Cheers. Wow, the carbonation is coarse, but it's nice, quite drinkable. Lots of fruit, lots of dark, sweet fruit, and I'm imagining the sweetness is coming from the sugar that's been added to this. But it's really nice. Lovely. The dark fruit is really prominent in this, and it's like dates, plums, berries, dark berries like blackberries, a little touch of plum on there as well. But there's also a fair bit of spice, as I said. You'd get in the the dry mouthfeel with the clove, the coriander, and some white pepper. You get that pepper, which I'm assuming is coming from the hops and the yeast as well. I think you can read into what you will about the hops and the malt, but you find with these Belgian beers, it's all about the yeast. The yeast is what gives it its flavour, and your spice is all coming from the yeast. The sugar as well, that does give it a more balanced flavour to it. That's really nice. The only criticism is the carbonation. Carbonation is a little lively for me, but that's just a minor gripe. And you can hear that now, it's still super carbonated. But it's nice. For once, for some reason, it works with this stuff. You know, I'm not a big fan of huge carbonation, and I much prefer the smoother doubles that you can get. This is fairly carbonated. But of course, your carbonation does help release some flavour to it. Little touch of black cherry on that now as well. Yeah, I like this. I like Belgian doubles anyway, and this is a good one. Not as good as the other two, well, not as good as the 10 certainly, but I wouldn't expect it to. That's brewed differently, and you know, even though it's the same style of beer, it is different to this. But this is not bad. This is probably the more drinkable of the three. It hasn't got the super rich body of the 10. I'm just looking at the carbonation in there. The carbonation is still going for it. I don't think you'll be able to see that in there, will you? Can you see that? But there is just an absolute fucking tornado of carbonation coming from that. It's nice. Not too sweet either. Some of these, as I said before, some of these doubles, the sweetness just clings to your mouth afterwards. Not getting that at all. It's just a nice dry finish, and it's nice. So what's the verdict on this? Yeah, I like these. I like the 10, and I like the 8 when I tried it, and I like the 6. The 6, this is me just trying the 6 now, and yeah, it's a good one. But I wouldn't have expected anything less from these. They're a really good brewer. They know what they're doing, and yeah, you've got all the classic flavours of a Belgian double in there. You've got the dark fruit, you've got the sweetness, you've got the spice. You've basically got it all. The only criticism I will say is it's just a little too carbonated for me. I'd have preferred it if it had calmed down a little bit. It's still going for it now. Like a little tornado of carbonation in that, but that's just a minor gripe. Head retention isn't too great either on that, and I do prefer drinking these for a head. But again, two minor gripes. It makes up for it in the flavour, you know. Sometimes I moan. I mean, if that was like something like an IPA, or I tried that Portobello. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it looked like this. It had all these characteristics, you know, massive carbonation, and the head went to nothing, and there was just no flavour to it at all. Yeah, the same thing's happened here, but there's flavour, believe me. And it didn't do what the Portobello stuff did. It didn't lose all the carbonation, so you know, and it's still moving the flavours around. So yeah, I like it. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to recommend it. Well, I'm going to recommend you try all three of them. Enjoy your own conclusions. At the moment, the 10 is my favourite, even though it is fucking hefty on the alcohol. I think that's 11 or 11.5%. So you got to treat it with respect. This is 7.5, so yeah, you still got to treat it with respect. I mean, this is the same ABV as Special Brew, right? Now I know you get 500ml or 440ml in a Special Brew, but this tastes infinitely better than a fucking Special Brew. But I'm just making the point about the ABV. So yeah, Nice, 8.5 out of 10. Definitely recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.